Mastery of the desert serves many an adventurer well when exploring a loner. Not only do the creatures here make for hostile travelling companions, but the terrain ranges from difficult to outright deadly to traverse. Some creatures prefer the azure expanse of the Alonian sky over the scorching sand dunes, taking to the air to navigate the desert. Here atop these towering mesas are sanctuaries from the predators below, and the rocks offer the perfect oases free from the conflict of the desert surface. The creatures that reside here vary from the passive to the prickly, but perhaps the most striking and the rarest are the Alonian Griffons. For their size, the Griffon is surprisingly elusive. It wasn't until 1130 AE, after the fall of Balthazar, that they started to be seen outside of the Vabian cliffs. Their appeal stems from their unrivaled aerial prowess. The Griffon is the fastest of mounts whilst airborne. They can dart across great distances and soar up into the skies with just a few flaps of their wings. These wings are the Griffon's most crucial adaptation. Long and tapered, they are built for speed and manoeuvrability. Close to the body and along the leading edge, they are covered in slim, stiff feathers, lending their surface a streamlined silhouette. This reduces drag in the air generated from their wing beats, so the Griffon not only uses less energy when flying, but can reach higher speeds. The featherless sections of their wings are formed from a membrane stretched over lightweight and hollow bones. It is highly flexible and accounts for the Griffon's acrobatic method of flight. Small adjustments in the membrane as they fly allows Griffons to turn sharply or pivot in the air. Just before engaging in one of their breakneck dives, the Griffon folds this section of their wings closer to their bodies, plummeting towards the ground. The Griffon would not be able to generate the power necessary for their speed without particularly strong flight muscles. The flight muscles metabolize energy very readily, and it takes a lot of fuel to feed a Griffon's flight. Luckily, the Griffon's ability to fly widens not only their available territory, but also the variety of food that they can hunt. Rodents and lizards easily fall prey to the Griffon, but even larger and tougher creatures, such as the armoured scarabs or the ferocious sand lions, are victims of the Griffon swooping from above. Griffons devour their prey, skin, bones and all, using their sharp beaks and incredible jaw strength to rend flesh. The tougher parts of their prey that cannot be digested are compacted into pellets of shell, claws and fur, which the Griffon regurgitates when at rest. Hunting for such active and evasive prey requires another set of adaptations. It is important to sneak up on their victims. Their feathers are fringed with a microscopic comb-like edge, which disrupts the normal turbulence of flight and muffles any sound that is generated from the beats of a Griffon's wings. This makes for near silent flight, so even a creature this size can pass undetected in the sky. Their feathers also act as camouflage. Typical Alonian Griffons wear a mix of sandy, earthy tones, which blend into the dust and sand of the desert, and their paler underbellies, when set against the cloudy skies, make it difficult for their prey to make out their silhouettes before they strike. The Griffon's countenance is crowned by its ears, tipped with tufts of feathers. Each ear can move independently, swiveling to scan for minute sounds in the undergrowth. The Griffon is able to locate extremely high-pitched sounds with ease, and can not only pinpoint from where the sound originates to the left or right, but also at which elevation relative to the Griffon the prey can be found. This is a particularly important skill for a Griffon, who would usually hunt in the lower light of dawn or dusk, or even nocturnally. Even the Griffon's faces are shaped to funnel sound upwards towards their ears. Rows of short, stiff bristle feathers are arranged in discs around their eyes, and help capture and direct sound as the Griffon turns its head. The Griffon's eyes are large and striking, sitting prominently on their heart-shaped faces, and are well adapted to hunting. As with most hunters, Griffon's eyes are set at the front of their heads, allowing for the binocular vision necessary to pinpoint prey from afar, and adjust their flight to capture it. Once their prey is located, the Griffon strikes. Each of the Griffon's 4 feet are equipped with strong grasping toes and long curving talons. Tufts of short fluffy feathers, called filoplumes, line between the Griffon's toes, and help the Griffon feel for its prey even when it cannot see it. They allow the hunting Griffon to make careful adjustments to its grip as it grasps its food, ensuring nothing can escape as it ascends into the air. Griffons capable of carrying a rider through the sky are universally rare. It is not yet known whether the more common griffons that are familiar to communities across Tyria are even capable of being trained to be mounts. The exact number of adult Elonian griffons is unknown, but a combination of their remote location and evasive nature means that there may well be populations in the far reaches of Tyria that remain undetected. Another reason for their rarity may be that Elonian griffons appear to reproduce only rarely. The circumstances for favourable conditions to raise young have been few and far between in the desert of recent times. Even when a griffon does lay eggs, there is little guarantee it will be in a safe enough location for the eggs to survive. Griffon broods are laid in nests made from tangles of twigs, scraps of fabric, feathers and any other materials the griffon finds near. The parent stays with the eggs, periodically incubating them and protecting them from predators or thieves. The eggs themselves are camouflaged and vary depending on the breed, from dark and mottled to bright and speckled. Griffons appear to prefer nest sites high on rocky cliffs. Many of the nests encountered in Elona appear to have been used by solitary griffons. But the griffons here in Vabi are some of the more social, gathering in groups to incubate their eggs and raise their young. Their willingness to gather here is helped in no small part by the presence of the Sunspears, for it is here on the cliff sides high above the crackling brand below that the most unusual and perhaps pivotal alliance was formed. An ancient order, the Sunspears once fought alongside Cormyr when she was human against the fallen god Abaddon, and since then have been instrumental in fighting for Elona and protecting its inhabitants. Here on the cliffs are the desiccated remains of the last Spear Marshal of the Sunspears, Spear Marshal Talcora. Talcora has a long and arduous history with the Lich King of Elona, King Joko, culminating in her death when the undead monarch grew tired of her rebellion and exhausted his methods of torture. Joko cursed Spear Marshal Talcora to an eternity in a prison of her own rotting body, in the broken and crumbling walls of the Sunspear Sanctuary here in Vabi. Awakened just enough for awareness, but not enough for action, the last Spear Marshal spent centuries fighting to regain her will. Over time, after endless prayers to the goddess Cormyr, Talcora discovered a gift that allowed the last Spear Marshal to form connections to the griffons that shared her resting place. She could join her mind to theirs and grew to communicate with her newfound allies. Through their eyes, the Spear Marshal watched the advance of Joko's and eventually Balthazar's forces, and began laying the foundations of a rebellion. The griffons became soldiers, striking the awakened in the forged and disappearing into the wastes of the desert. Flying far above the brand, they were safe from the corruption of the elder dragon Kralkotoric, and their outposts stayed protected from any retaliation. The armour of the forged rent as readily as the shells of the scarabs, and the bones of the awakened cracked under the griffons' indomitable claws. When the commander of the pact met Talcora in 1330 AE, she seized the opportunity to join the Griffons, the Pact and the Sunspears into a powerful alliance, and the fight against tyranny in Elona has only grown in power since, with more and more fighters gaining seats amongst the clouds on the backs of their griffons. Ultimately, griffons are capable of excelling at far more than being mere mounts for the adventurer. Unparalleled in speed and agility whilst airborne, their strength and skill when hunting sets them apart from other assistants in the efforts of both exploration and war. Though rare and, until recently, largely unknown to much of Tyria, the legends forged from the backs of griffons are rapidly spreading across Elona and beyond.